And I'm actually going to get right into it. And you really want to know how. How can I blaze my own path? How can I be successful? How can I follow the path that someone else has laid for me to be successful?
Sitting on deuces. Yeah, you say.
So I want to know about this whole quarantine thing, because I mean, it's different for everyone, but what has it been like for you personally, but also how do you see it affecting the world? Like, how are we going to be different? How is it going to change after this?
On a personal level, man, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this. I mean, I've just been like, yo, man, the world is moving at a crazy rate of cutting down trees, like mass incarceration, just so many things that were not necessarily right. And I mean, maybe this is like the warning before. I remember reading this book called The Fire Next Time. And in the word, God said, and no, I'm not bringing water next time. It's going to be something else. So it's going to be fire? No, but I'm super excited because I'm very big into people being introspective and giving time to know what it means to be in themselves and in their heads, and understanding and really breaking things down. And when you move aimlessly without purpose and you're just running on fumes, I think, it just causes you to be distracted and you start living the life of other people's agendas. So now, and I'm just super glad that the world is coming to a place where people are able to stop at the same time, understand and get the values back right. I think it exposed America in the fact that it is a third world country, but just with better stuff.
Yeah, seriously.
But see, you see, like, oh, we think, oh man, America's so great. There's no hunger. There's no this. There's no that. This is that. But this truly just exposed all of that. And we just happen to be the one on the food chain that just annihilated other people and just took over colonialism. but I mean, hey, but that's how the country was built: entrepreneurship and violence. And that's just a lot of modern history, right? So it's just in that sense of I'm really good that people are finding their way, but it's also still like a lot of chaotic stuff is just happening. I'm just hoping and praying that people will be better and do better. On a personal level, I mean, I'm all about dwelling in the secret place. I love the school year. I love when it's just like me just being like, this is my closet where I do my prayer, my meditation, my affirmations, all that. So this is a very familiar place, and this is where I've just spent a lot of time on the prayer calls with my friends, the prayers by myself. And it's just really just sharpening and rest. Because even when I was on campus, I know people like, look, oh man, how do you do everything? I'm like, bro, I don't know. I guess I just have a higher capacity as a human being. Yeah. And then once you're able to figure out, like, oh, you find what's best for you, that's it, that's done. And so I'm just like, I didn't mind. So, but I'm to see, and what you said, like that secret sauce to success, my personality. Because more people, they think I'm an extrovert, but no, I'm an extroverted introvert. I can know and they can talk and communicate, but I like being by myself. I don't mind it at all. I welcome it because I know that I'm never alone. And like, that's just because of the faith aspect, right? But it's just been very valuable. Having more chance to observe things and to really think, but also just to plan and strategize in a way, not in the sense where I'm planning my life in the future, but also just like plan my day to day and understand that, hey, everything takes one day at a time, and life is about a compound effect. Like, you can have all this stuff and whatever, but if you're not doing the small daily brick by brick work, how do you expect to get there? And because the rewards are going to be better, whatever that is going to be. So that's really just how it's been for me.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
I don't know. It's been very interesting. I think it's definitely taken me for a loop in like my thinking, because I'm always up for like an existential talk. Like those are my favorite things with my friends, like late night existential talks and just like talking about life and the future. But it's been interesting because I definitely am an extroverted introvert in that way too. Like, I love like my own space. Like in New York, I have a 1-bedroom, and so a lot of people have roommates, but that was one thing important for me, is like, I need my space, because that's my safe space to do what I need to do and then go out into the world and, live your life. So that was important to me, but it was interesting because I felt like my whole life I had been building and growing towards this life, or not necessarily life, but just kind of like I guess you could say life, not sure the right word, but building and growing into the life I guess I wanted and was working towards, and which was, moving to New York and doing photography, doing acting, really taking the right steps towards what I wanted. And I did that. And it was funny because I thought moving to New York, I moved October 1st, and I thought moving there would be difficult because everyone is like, oh, moving to New York, it's so hard, which I mean, it is hard to find an apartment, but it there was no hesitation, there was no difficulty. I mean, that was definitely by the grace of God, but I could feel that it was something I needed to do, if that makes sense. Like, there are sometimes things I do where I'm like, this is right, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, this is the place I'm supposed to be in my life, I'm in the right place at the right time. And it really was that. Like, I moved in, I built all my furniture, I got everything together, and it was just like day-to-day life. I was taking photos. I right now am trying to turn my photo business into an LLC, so like really incorporating it to kind of finally have the name be trademarked and all that stuff, and make it into a business so that when I'm not acting, I can do that. And not just turning it into like a photography business, but definitely more of just like I'm not sure if it's like media, but something. I really like creating. And so I feel like that'll be a great outlet to make money, but also to just have that. So I'm doing that. But yeah, I joined a theater company in New York, which is really cool. All of the people are really great. And it's been interesting because we put up a show, which was Hallie Platz's show that she wrote, which was really amazing. And it was funny because right as I moved, we were in rehearsal.
Wow.
And then, yeah, it was crazy. And, God threw us for a loop. He changed the dates from the beginning of January to the end of December, when everything was happening after Christmas. I had to leave the day after Christmas, and we had our tech 4 hours before our first performance.
Bro, talk about an experience where you're coming from an institution where you guys had everything planned, everything was basically okay. Like, I mean, of course, you have your things, but like, but to that,
welcome to New York. It was like it was crazy. I mean, they call it like grassroots theater, but it really is, because you don't know what you're doing. But it was such an amazing experience, and everything was working out great. And it was funny because this whole quarantine happened right as everything was getting going. So I got accepted to the Neighborhood Playhouse, which is an acting school in New York. And that,
congrats.
What'd you say?
Huge congrats. Isn't that like a pretty big deal?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's super cool. Like, it was definitely a God thing. I remember finding it and being like, this would be so cool, because they have really, really cool alumni. Like, if you look up the list, it's amazing. And I was like, might as well audition. Like, it's during the summer. Who knows? I mean, you don't know until you try, I guess. So it's like, I might as well audition. Like, the worst that could happen is if I don't get it. Awesome. Like, nothing has changed, I guess, now I know. So I remember I auditioned, and it was like this supernatural, just like Holy Spirit, because I found the perfect monologue for it, which is really hard. I was like, I got this. I was trying to memorize it fast because the audition was with the executive director of the whole place. And I go into her office, and I could tell that she was definitely very tough, like knew what, the path was for her school and all this stuff. And I get in there, and it was just, we vibed. It was amazing. We had a great interview. And then I did the monologue, and it was like, like, when you just do it so well and you're so proud of it, it was like that. And I remember just feeling really, really good vibes. Like, it was just, I was like, I don't even know what's going to happen, but like, whatever happens, I will trust God. It was an amazing experience, though. That's all I could ask for. And about a week later, actually, is when this whole quarantine started. And my parents were in Naples, Florida, and they said, you should come, like, you should leave New York. It's going to get crazy. And I was like, okay. So I, packed a suitcase, and I went to LaGuardia. And I am at the gate to go, and I get an email on my phone, and it says, Hanna, congratulations, you've been accepted to the Neighborhood Playhouse. And I was like, wow. Like, it was like, even with all of this crazy stuff happening, like, you can still see these blessings, which is so amazing. But so it's been interesting. That's supposed to happen in July. It was going to be in June, but now they pushed it. So I really don't know what the future holds, because I'm not really doing much photography right now, because I'm now back home with my parents. I'm in Washington, D.C. So we came from Florida, drove all the way up here because my parents split time. So I've just been here for, actually today it has been, that's so funny. Officially today, it has been 2 months since I
Oh,
have been, since I've been in quarantine or, left New York. So there've been ups and downs. It's been weird. I feel like this is the time where God is really testing me, because this is the first time in my life that I don't have a plan.
yeah.
I've always had a plan. Like, I always know what's coming up. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And even if things don't quite go to plan, I'm like, okay, but this is something else that I can do. Like, I have a list. I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to do. But now I don't know when I'm going to be going back to New York. I don't know when this is going to end. I don't know what's going to happen. And it's been very unsettling. So I'm just trying to trust God, but also I don't like living in the unknown. Like,
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. And I am right now. So I'm trying to figure out what that's like and how to like navigate that. So it's been good, but also weird,
Mm.
unprecedented, I guess, but.
And that word has just exploded in terms of like use. I was looking at Google Trend and I'm saying like, well, how many times has the word been unprecedented been used throughout history?
Unprecedented time. Yeah, exactly.
Unprecedented time. Oh, yes.
There's a lot of words that are being thrown at: quarantine, lockdown. I'm like, I don't even know. I'm just gonna say pandemic. I'm like, I don't know. And it's weird because it affects people differently. This whole thing on Monday, I'm getting a test to see if I have the antibodies, because right as I left, about a few weeks later, I lost all taste and smell. All for 2 weeks. I could not taste anything. I could not smell. And that's one of the symptoms of the virus. And I was like, this is weird, because I felt okay. I know. I'm like, I don't know at this point. Who knows, right? I'm like, this is crazy. And so I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So on Monday, I'm getting the antibody test to see if I had it. And we still don't know what that means, but my grandmother had it, but she's okay.
Okay.
Because she's very, very, very healthy, thank God. But it's weird. It affects people differently. There are people I know that have lost people to the virus. The people had it and didn't know. I mean, and you know what? It reminds me of what you said about the book you read. And I was saying this to some of my friends. I was like, I feel like this is kind of like Noah's Ark. It's like, I feel like this is basically, in his own way, God being like, okay, we were getting crazy. Let's reevaluate and like shift. And some people were like, no, this can't be that. I was like, okay, wait till the fire gets you.
Honestly, man.
But
Honestly.
yeah, I mean, it is. I don't even know. It's weird not having answers, because we always look for answers in life, I feel like, to things that we don't know, but still trying to figure it out, I guess,
Yeah. So I mean, like, I guess how was the family dynamic been with like you and your brother back at the same place? But like I know your brother was in California doing all this stuff, and now he's back here. And like, what is it like to be siblings but now older, and now with your family, and then they're older, and now you guys actually get the chance to. They don't look at you as kids anymore. I mean, they're your children, but like.
Yeah. It's so interesting, because I've been doing, I want to say about like once every few weeks, I've been doing therapy. And so that is something that they ask. They're like, how's that dynamic? And it's so interesting, because I feel like with certain families, coming home when your parents have kind of been doing their own routine, kind of realizing that you're an adult now, it can be tough being in each other's space, I guess. Something nice, though, I would say about my family is my parents were always, I mean, they were great parents. They always knew that my brother and I were independent. Like, they could see our vision, they could see, and which is something I'm very blessed to have, because a lot of people don't, but they never, told my brother and I not to go for our dreams. Like, my brother is going to be a junior now at Chapman for film production. So he does film and media and all that in LA, and I'm in New York. So they never said, oh, you can't make money doing that, or, oh, this is not going to work. They were always like, if you want to do this, if you work hard, you can achieve it, which is something really special. So they always knew that we were pretty independent. So they always gave us our space, if that makes sense. They weren't, like hovering all the time, which is definitely something that is nice now, because they still give us our space. And because it's a house, you can kind of, I'm in my room, my brother's in his room doing classes, and he does like workouts and everything. So we're all kind of in our own world, have our own routines. But it is weird because the last time that all four of us were in the house together at once was probably when I was in high school. So that was at least about 5.5 years ago. So even for like holidays and stuff, my brother and his girlfriend would come and go, or like it would be different with family. So this is the first time in years that we've all been together. And it's not been as difficult as I thought it was going to be, but it is a weird thing still coming home as an adult, I think, because my parents are still going with their routine. But for me, it's weird after being in college and being so independent and having my own space, my own routine, and feeling responsible for myself. And then coming home, I find it's easier to sink into that child or like that kid role, I guess you could say, because now I'm kind of in that role again. My brother and I are here. He's 20, I'm 23. And so we're kind of, my mom will make dinner a lot of nights. I usually make my own dinner, you know what I mean? Or I have my own schedule. But now we all kind of have to live with everybody else's schedule. So like my brother will be waking up at, 1 p.m. I wake up at about 11, and my dad has work. He works from home. So he wakes up at, 7. My mom will wake up at 8 or 9, and she has some volunteer work and different things, but we all will come together for dinner, at like 5 or 6, but we all have to stop what we're doing. So we can't now have our individual routines and the way we kind of go about our day. We kind of have to adjust to like having these 3 other adults in the house, figuring that out together. So that's been, I think, the hardest, is like, we're all on a different path in a way, but they kind of are converging now. And so I can't just, do something. I have to stop when we're going to have dinner because we're all decided we're going to have dinner together. Or sometimes we have to bring dinner to my brother because he has a class, late at night because he's on Pacific time. So it's a weird thing having to now being, not in a negative way, but being selfish and knowing my routine, and this is what I do, and these are the times that I do it, and this is how it is. But now having to be like, there are 3 other people in this house that I have to now adapt to that I haven't in years. So it's an interesting dynamic. It's not bad. It's basically like reevaluating and learning a brand new routine.
Yeah.
Or like I guess it's honestly kind of like living with, a brand new husband or wife. You have to learn how to like, adjust to what they're doing, while not being the case,
Exactly. That's so interesting. So, and then now, like, it's been like you graduated spring of 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's been a year since you graduated. But but like, it's only been a year, but it feels like for ages ago because your life has just moved.
It does.
Talk about like that transition of like being an adult. And I know a lot of people say, like, especially if you have an amazing experience in college, like your life completely radically changes.
Yeah.
And possibly suggestions of post-grad depression, or also just like, who would have thought this would have happened?
I know, like, no, it's funny seeing everyone post it, like, like for New Year's, they're like, 2020 is my year, and then they like, people are posting memes now. They're like, 2021's my year. I'm like, stop saying that. Like, everybody says that before the year starts. I'm like, we did not know this was gonna happen. Like, and this could keep going on until maybe the fall. That is almost the whole year. That's like at least half, like 8 months.
9 months, dog. 8, 9 months.
That's too much. That's too much. Oh my God. There's so many things we could have gotten done, That's what I always think about. But yeah, it's weird. Like post-grad, here's the funny thing. People always say that post-grad is like brutal. They're like, it's the worst thing to ever happen to you, which I don't think is true. I think it's very difficult. But at the same time, for me specifically, my personal experience, I was always that person that when middle school was ending, I was like, okay, I'm ready for high school. You know what I mean? I'm like, let's level up. I'm like, let's go. Let's level up, right? I'm like, I beat that level forever ago. And people are still trying to like climb up the mountain, And then high school, I was like, okay, like by like the end of junior year, beginning of senior year, I'm like, I'm ready. you know, like I've learned what I've learned, I've done what I've done, let's go to college. So then I was in college, and I remember senior year, well, I had taken so many credits before. I'd taken like 19 credits every semester. So senior year, I only had like 10, 12 credit. I mean, it was so low that it was weird. It was like, I'm free. You know what I mean? Like for other people, it's probably a normal amount, but I had so much less than I had before that it really, senior year flew by because I didn't have as much class going on. And by then I was like, okay, I'm ready. I was like, let's go. Like I love college and I loved the experiences that I had and the people that I met, but it's kind of when people see like college is your peak. That was never me. Like I never peaked in school. Like that wasn't my place, if that makes sense. So I was always, and there are pros and cons to it. Like I'm always the person looking for the next thing. I mean, sometimes there can be a con of like me having to hold on, be still, like sit down, slow down, and like really work through what I'm doing right now and be present. That's really hard. But literally, I've always been the person that's like, what's next? Let's go. You know what I mean? I've never been scared. I'm like, let's do it. Let's go. You know what I mean? So like that was a big thing for me is everyone was like, oh my God, I need a job. What about when I graduate? What's going to happen? And I was like, honestly, like it's going to happen. So why be fearful of it? You know what I mean? Like it's coming. But honestly, I feel like I finally became free and finally my life began when I graduated because I was like, it feels like a different life. I'm not kidding. Like my life, like college and before, it just feels like a completely different person because we changed so much. But I finally was able to, as I guess you could say an adult or like leaving school, I could kind of come into my own. I felt like even though school was great to grow and to learn, it was holding me back a little bit because having to, you know, go to certain elective classes and it just felt like it was holding me back and pulling me down from the things that I really felt like I could do or like influence other people. And I needed that time and that space to do it. And so I moved back to DC. And I was at home for that summer and I was waitressing to make money. And I was just really like cultivating what I wanted to do. I was looking at New York apartments and I'm the type of person where when I get my mind on something, that's it. Like I'm doing it and nothing's going to stop me. So when I was like, when I finally decided like senior year at one point, I was like, I'm moving to New York. And it was weird because I didn't even have to think about it. I was like, bam, that's what I'm doing. And it was just after that, I was like, okay, let's do it now. And I was like, I know I need to wait and like plan because I can't just jump into things. But at the same time, I was like, I know my purpose and I need to just do it. Like I felt God calling me to that city and I don't know why, because it's so difficult to kind of, I mean, it's a crazy place, but being there and finally moving there in October was like the best feeling. I've been looking at pictures. Actually, yesterday I was looking at pictures of when I moved in. I took like screen recordings and I did like time lapses of me like building my stuff. I had to like make my own mattress like frame. Like I was like making everything. And thank you, Scenic. When we did Scenic, taught me how to build stuff, but came in handy. But yeah, I was just like, this is the life. And for some people that would suck, I guess, not having a job or not doing things. But once I moved there, just trusting that something was going to happen and being like, I'm going to figure this out, and having the support from my parents was like, that's all I needed. And then quickly after that, right as I moved, I met this lady who has a company in New York called the Powell Companies. And she owns a bunch of fashion labels. So what she does is she takes celebrities and she takes different whether it be athletes or like just people who want to develop fashion brands, and she creates them. So she has a team of in-house designers, and then she has media people and accountants and all that stuff. And this whole team works together to create this fashion label from, literally developing it from when you think, oh, I want to do a fashion label, to the actual distribution of the clothing. So they have their own private distribution. Wow. So I remember meeting her. It was like a networking situation. I met her and she's like, let's just meet her. So her name was Zara, and she was super, super nice, very kind. And she actually saw my vision. So I was telling her, yeah, I'm moving to New York. I just got here and these are the things I want to do. I, especially for photography, have such a passion for fashion photography. That's always been the thing. I love taking editorial shots of different people and like really cool, weird stuff. I mean, I went to the fashion show at Baylor and it was super cool because it's, I guess, pushing the boundaries is always fascinating for me. So I loved that. And she's like, we could really actually use you. And I was just meeting her to meet her and for her to give me advice on moving to New York. And she actually offered me a job on the spot.
Did you take it?
I did.
Wow.
So right as I moved, I took it. I was like, okay. And she was like, come on. So I moved and I was, when I moved, I was literally had the job, which was so cool because I just kind of trusted and it worked out. And it was amazing. I mean, and I was working for their company and I actually don't work for them anymore, which I'll explain, but I worked for them for like 4 months, right up until kind of the, when quarantine started, or actually technically January, kind of the new year. But when I was working for them, we did like Whoopi Goldberg's fashion line. And it was like a whirlwind. It was so cool being able to do that because I remember the funny story. This one time, my coworker who was taking photos of these new Christmas sweaters for Whoopi Goldberg's line, she goes, hey, I need to really, really quickly get some photos of these sweaters. I was like, okay. So I literally came from the office and she put these sweaters on me and I just modeled them, and I was not hired as a model. I mean, I was doing photography and creating logos for them, digital media, different things. And she's like, we need these photos. So she took these photos of me. I didn't know where they were going. And I got a call from a family friend saying, you're on Rachel Ray. And I was like, what are you? Yes. I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, these pictures of you in these Christmas sweaters are on Rachel Ray as she's talking to Whoopi. And I was like, what are you talking about? So I searched forever. Like I searched and searched and searched. And it's like the smallest snippet, but Whoopi was talking about these Christmas sweaters she's coming out with. And it's literally a picture of me in New York wearing this sweater. Like I had no makeup on or hair. Like it was just like, I thought she was just taking quick pictures. And I'm like in New York, like smiling in this sweater. And I was like, this is hilarious. Like this is my life. It is the weirdest thing, but so fun. And then, later on I developed a logo in this new line that they're coming out with Phaedra Knight, who does rugby, I think, or soccer. I forget. She's an athlete, and there's a bunch of athletes they're using. And so they're coming out with that and athleisure wear and stuff. But I actually stopped working for them because I realized that I wanted to start my own business. It was amazing. I loved working for them, but I just had these, ideas that I wanted to implement. And so I was like, thank you so much. And I still do some work for them, but I was like, I need to find my own path. So kind of finishing the story, I guess, I started doing, developing my own business, Style Shutter, and, doing photography and different things, and actually met, again, a little bit of networking through mutual friends, actually a friend I grew up with, this girl named Audra, who has a blog, and she is kind of an influencer, but she does a lot of fashion, and she and her friends work at Gucci, and all these, Gucci and Sam Edelman, and it's really cool. It was so funny when I met her friends. They're like, yeah, we work at Gucci. I was like, oh my god. I was like, you got any free stuff for me? I was like, you got any slides you can throw me? A $400 t-shirt? I'd love that. But yeah, and started taking photos for her and still take photos for her, and she actually got me the opportunity to go to New York Fashion Week. So right before all this, I got to attend New York Fashion Week shows, and it was the coolest thing ever.
Wow. I hope to be there one day. I'm going to be there one day. I don't care.
One day. I'll get you in there. We'll get you in there soon.
No,
but
I'll be a shoot. Time being.
Yeah.
What are the designs, or just as a guest?
We'll go together. We'll sit front row. Get some pics. Yeah, oh my god, it was like the most amazing experience. And to think about it, in less than a year, or about a year, I was sitting at the Baylor fashion show, literally going, wow, this is amazing. I would die to go to New York Fashion Week. Like that is my goal. That is my something that I wanted to do. And a year later, I am sitting on the second row of New York Fashion Week.
Bro, you just attracted that. You just God, like,
Who knew? Yeah.
man. Hannah, I just want to say thank you so much for just being a part of the
You.
show. This is my last segment of the show. I want to ask one really big question. Usually the show goes longer, but for those, I mean, I'm just going to keep this in the podcast. I also have another interview at around in a couple minutes. So
Hey.
I didn't expect our catch up to be so long, but
We
you
could
know
go
what?
on for hours, Tanaka.
Oh, we could go on for hours. Y'all don't even
could.
know. We could go on for hours. Yeah.
We could.
Well, but I would just say, but anyways, the last question is, what do you want your legacy to be? I know, big.
That's a big question. It's a good question, though. You know, I've never really thought about it, but the first thing that comes to mind is two things. Is like one, obviously, just being like a strong believer and someone who inspired others and really wanted to, be the best version of, myself I can be, a strong Christian, someone that is without judgment and just loves everyone. I guess that's the first one. And the second one is just to make a difference. And I find that I can't even really define that. You know what I mean? Making a difference. But to touch someone or to really impact and love and inspire, I feel like that's what I would want my legacy to be, wherever that is. Because we don't know what's going to happen. Like, we don't know where our lives are going to take us. But whatever I'm doing, as long as I'm inspiring and, loving and building community, like, then, I'll be set. Those are the best things, I feel like. So definitely that.
Man, that's the last segment.
Yes.
The opportunity where I get to speak life to my guests, because I really feel like, words, that's just my love language. But also, when you speak life, like, life and death are spoken over the tongue. Shout out to James chapter 4. Make sure y'all people know that. Read up. And also,
I've been studying James, so
hey, and if you're not even Christian, man, you just know that it's false. That's when they say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt you. Now they hurt. That's how the tabloids get you. But I just want to let you know, you're looking at the embodiment of your legacy. Just in the sense of, you don't understand, Hannah. You have inspired so much. I really you did photography. You had a podcast. You dropped a book. You are an actress. You are a singer. You just are like light, man. You are light. You were I remember telling Chase, man, I'm like, bro, Hannah's so awesome. Hanna is so awesome. Like, bro, I love that girl. I love that girl. Like, she's just so awesome. And I remember when you told me, your thing was so funny. I couldn't cast you, but I just want to let you know your cattle call is so funny. It's like we just go. You come and walk in here like this, and then after that you swim like that. Everybody's like, ah.
Thank you. That's my legacy. That'll be my legacy.
No, but I just want to let you know that I am.
That means everything to me. It does.
I get emotional. I talk about you all the time whenever I give the chance, and I'm just like, man, I miss seeing you at the halls, and I miss you just hyping each other up, and I just want to let you know that you have inspired me in so many ways, dog. I'm very grateful for your friendship. I'm very grateful that you're an ally. I'm very grateful for all the times that you have always taught me something meaningful. And thank you for always believing in me. And man, just thank you so much for just being the person that you are and always being bold and never always taking risk. And for that, I am eternally grateful. And I love you, dog.
I love you too. It goes both ways. It does. I learn from you every day. I do. Keep it up. I'm really blessed to have found you and to have you in my life. And I'm just excited to see. And you can always tell me about things. I want to hear the good stuff. Send me articles. Send me everything. I want to hear it. Yeah. And come visit me in New York.
Yeah. Oh, that's definitely going to happen. Where can the people follow you at?
Oh, so I have too many things. No.
All of it. I want all of it.
Oh boy. Let's see. So I have websites, but definitely the place to find me would be Instagram. I'm addicted. It's at Hanna Rose Hunt, and I don't have an H at the end of Hanna. It's just Hanna. But yeah, at Hannah Rose Hunt. And then my photography one is at style_shutter. Like a camera.
Yeah.
So definitely those are the places you can find me. I don't use Twitter enough because it would suck me in, but maybe one day. Maybe one day.
If you want her whole portfolio and see what she's up to, HannahRoseHunt.net.
Yes.
She has a great website. She actually helped me with my website a little bit too. So, man, I'm telling you, man, you really.
I love you. We'll have to do this again. Catch up. Go for hours.
Yes, no, for real. Anyway, guys, we are out. Episode 223.